Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard. I'm Dablola Shaki. Here on Today in the News, we read an in-depth analysis on some of the stories making waves across Nigeria. And this morning, I'm starting with Vanguard on the paper review. Vanguard is leading with PDP CRISIS, IBB, GEJ move to reconcile Atiku and Wike. Atiku's meeting with ex-president fruitful, that's according to PCC source. Atiku group charged Jang and the G5 governors overstands on IE. You can see that story on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. On page 35, we have 20 million out of school children. Another Boko Haram looms that's coming from OBASANJO. On page 9, NNPCL partners begin development of 1 billion barrel Malami coal mining oil field. Insecurity. Herdsmen invade Enugu community, kill 10, injure many, burn houses. 54 die in Maiduguri, Damaturu, Kwali Abuja highway accident. You can see that on page 7. On page 36, oil thefts. Nigeria lost over $2 billion in 8 months. That's coming from the Senate. Corpse of 16-year-old girl found in hotel wardrobe in Bayelsa. On page 9, Atiku's ally Chidoka replies Kwankwanso says no party has won Lagos, Kano, Rivers at once. Stories above on page 11. Nnamdi Kanu sues Malami demands 20 billion naira. We've not shifted ground on same-fare tickets. That's coming from Christian Association of Nigeria. Media chiefs operators adopt new co-regulation code of ethics. Inflation, we will continue to raise MPR until, that's coming from CBN, and you can see that story on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. And now the Punch this morning also is leading with 16.5% interest rate. Private sector predict factories shut down, higher bad loans. CBN interest rate hike will increase manufacturers' 5 trillion naira debts. Monetary policy tightening will worsen inflation, says NACCIMA. And on page 42, impeached Ekiti speaker heads for court. Buhari inaugurates a 3 billion naira oil exploration project in Northeast. The photo story is on the front page of the Punch newspaper. And lastly on that paper, we have Atiku Obi meets Christian Association of Nigeria. Tackle APC on governance. You can see that story on page 2 of the Punch. Let's see what the nation is leading with. And this morning, it's leading with oil. Buhari wants against the Niger Delta mistakes in the north. President inaugurates an integrated oil business in Gongola Basin. Tinubu will recharge Lake Chad if elected. You can see that story on page 4. NYSC names UBA as acting director general. NYSC names Uba as acting director general. And lastly, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, we have APC to launch a crowd pooling app, raise funds. Party rejigs a campaign plan. You can see that story on page 4 of the Nation. And lastly, this morning, let's see what the Guardian is leading with. Guardian is leading with oil drilling begins in Gombe, Bauchi with 1 billion barrel oil, 500 BSCF gas. Buhari orders NNPC to step oil search and says a coal mining project attracted $3 billion investment. Bauchi Gombe governor pledged support and conducive environments. I will take project up from Buhari, says Tinubu. Atiku Okowa meets a Christian Association of Nigeria, insists on restructuring. You can see that on page 6. Stories above, Ronaldo leaves Manchester United after explosive interview. Lastly, on The Guardian, we have CBN moves to curb inflation as interest rate jumps to 16.5%. And that can be seen on page 3 of Guardian newspaper. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break. Welcome back if you're just joining me. This is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I'm Damlola Ogunshaki. And this morning, I'll be analyzing the front pages of the dailies. And of course, we have a lot of stories on the front pages this morning, but let's start with the story of PDP. And of course, following the frustrating relationship between the presidential candidate of PDP, that is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and Governor Nyesom Wike's led integrity group, a last-minute push by the Former military president General Ibrahim Babangida retired, former President Goodluck Jonathan, and prominent party leaders to resolve the crisis is ongoing and is expected to yield positive results. That's what Vanguard has gathered. Atiku and the Rivers State governor have been at daggers drawn over demand for the resignation of PDP national chairman Senator Iyorchia Ayu. However, both camps said they were committed to resolving the issues, resolving the crisis before the 2023 general elections. Atiku and Wike visited IBB and Jonathan recently, where the crisis rocking the party was discussed at length. And according to what we were told, they said a lot of people have intervened. They've told Atiku to go and reconcile with those who are aggrieved. And doubt now depends on what they said. And also when contacted, a member of PDP Presidential Campaign Council, PCC, who confirmed the peace move, said it was fruitful. The PCC member, who is private to the reconciliation effort, said given the efforts of the former president and other PDP leaders, reconciliation is not impossible, though he cannot speak authoritatively on it. Let's move away from there and talk about Nnamdi Kanu, that the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra has launched another 20 billion naira suit against the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. Kanu, through his lawyer, Ejemako, stated that the AGF demand the IPOP leader when he claimed that the latter jumped bail, and when he claimed that Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail and had asked for 20 billion naira for damages. And of course, this is coming barely 4 days after the initial 20 billion naira suit filed by Kanu against Malami was discontinued. However, in this latest suit dated November 21, Kanu demanded compensation following alleged defamatory and libelous claims against him. But to get more of these stories, make sure you get a copy of Vanguard newspaper. And of course, out of school children, it's a worry to many people in the country, and not just in the country and also around the world. Now, the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, yesterday warned that if Nigeria does not address the 20 million out of school children, which constitutes about 10% of our population, the country would be preparing for more Boko Haram insurgency in the future. This was just as Edo State Governor Mr. Godwin Obaseki yesterday also attributed the high rate of youth unemployment in the country to its faulty educational policy and system. Obasanjo gave the warning when he spoke as a special guest panelist at the National Summit on Tertiary Education organized by the House of Representatives in Abuja. He said that there was need for holistic development of the education sector in Nigeria, beginning from primary, secondary, and the tertiary levels. He noted that the uneducated Nigerians cannot contribute to the progress of the nation. He also stressed that education was not the responsibility of government alone, but all members of the society, including parents, religious leaders, communities, corporate organizations. So many of you watching the World Cup, when you're talking about the World Cup, yesterday it was really surprising, especially when so many people watched the Argentina match, that day 3 of the World Cup. Argentina played against Saudi Arabia, and of course, it was an upset, the football upset. The fact that many people, I'm sure many people placed their bet on Argentina. And of course, Saudi Arabia came from behind to win the match against Argentina, and it was a 2-1 victory. Now, leading the top of their team is Saudi Arabia, seeing that Poland also drew their match with Mexico yesterday. It was a goalless draw. The Lewandowski missed the penalty that could have helped Poland. Let's just move away from Saudi Arabia like that. We also have to talk about the coach of Saudi Arabia, who is Renard. Renard is really, really doing great. I mean, he has really helped Africa, so many African, teams. And another surprising thing is that I'm sure many people did not count as Saudi Arabia. They didn't even think they were just going to make they were going to make the court. But of course, they did. And of course, that's not the only game we had yesterday. France also played against Australia. France came from behind to trash Australia 4-1. Of course, France, they are currently defending the title. And during this match, Giroud equaled Henry's record as France's all-time goal scorer, That is really great, saying that this is the first match of the World Cup and there's still a lot more. So will Giroud score more? Of course, we believe that he will be able to, go past Henry's record this time around. And that's not just the only thing that happened with France yesterday. Lucas Hernandez also suffered a ligament injury, and he will probably miss the rest of the World Cup and also the rest of the season. Yesterday, when he suffered the injury, his brother replaced him. That's Theo Hernandez. And let's just move on. And also yesterday, Denmark and Tunisia. I think Tunisia, you have to say that it was really a 50-50 from the two sides. But today, we are looking forward to Morocco and Croatia match. Of course, it will be starting very soon. Germany will also be playing against Japan. Spain also will be playing against Costa Rica. And Belgium will be playing against Canada. Now, to get more of the stories, make sure you get a copy of the Vanguard newspaper and also visit our website, as we have the live updates on our website, and that's www.thevanguardngr.com. Now, let's not end this here. Let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. And the first person speaking this morning is Mr. Me, come and get my food. What do you mean by that? Serve my food now. Mrs. replied, a man attended a buffet. He waited for his wife to serve him before he realized it wasn't in his house. The food has finished. What he's saying is that you need to learn how to serve yourself from home. Don't always wait for Mrs. But of course, you have to give it up to these people. They're always, making us laugh every morning. And of course, do well to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Our WhatsApp number is also displayed on your screen. My name is Damlola Ogunshakin. Have a lovely